You wake up cold. It's 15,000 years ago in a shallow rock shelter. Your body aches from sleeping on stone. For a modern human, the first sound of the day is an alarm. For you, it is a deep, hollow silence. There is no distant traffic, no hum of electricity. Only the low moan of wind carving through the valley below and the faint, constant rush of a river a mile away. This is not peace. It is the quiet of a world that does not care if you live or die. But within the silence, there was a circle of sound, the human circle, close by guttural speech, not conversation as we know it, urgent, consonant-heavy words, a warning of a predator in the east, a name for the specific flint found by the river, a grunt signaling a successful strike. At the center of it all, the crackle and spit of the fire, the first technology to fight back the dark. It is a constant, hungry sound. Beside it, the sharp, precise percussion of stone knapping. Flint on chert, a rhythm of creation. Each successful strike yields a flake, a blade, a hand axe. The sound of making the tools that make survival possible. Then, the visceral wet sounds of labor. The tearing of hide, the scrape of a flint blade against muscle and tendon, the dull thud of a marrow bone being cracked open on a rock. This is the sound of calories, the audible processing of a kill. Every grunt of effort, every slice, is a calculation against starvation. These sounds, the fire, the knapping, the butchering, are not separate. They are one language, the language of a day survived. It is spoken by 20, maybe 30 individuals in this one clearing. Their entire world is held within the reach of this firelight and these working hands. The quiet wilderness listens, but it does not help. Every sound here is an act of defiance. A wolf's howl isn't just a sound. It's a map update, plotting a rival's position a mile away. A mammoth's low-frequency rumble, traveling farther than a human shout, isn't mere noise. It's a seismic bulletin of a migrating herd, felt in the chest before it's heard by the ear. This world broadcasts on one brutal frequency: survival. The orchestra is relentless. A sudden silence in the bird chorus is as sharp a warning as a shriek. It means a leopard is on the move in a nearby thicket. The crack of a distant branch triangulates a potential predator's approach. The rhythmic pounding of hooves isn't just thunder, it's a countdown. 200 bison are stampeding, and their vector is your position. The wind doesn't whisper, it carries data. A shift from the east brings the scent of rain, and with it, the promise of water, or the threat of a flash flood in the gorge. Every rustle in the dry grass is a binary question: food or death? A snake or a rodent? There is no music here, only signal. A cave lion's roar, audible for 5 miles across the open steppe, clears the landscape of all other sound. It is the ultimate priority alert, resetting every creature's immediate agenda to a single task: avoid being next. In this arena, to misread a sound is to be erased from the fossil record. The atmosphere itself is a tense wire, vibrating with raw, unfiltered information. Listen, or be listened to. Now come inside the circle of firelight. This is the sound of the tribe, the first human network. It begins with rhythm, a heartbeat against a stretched hide, hands clapping in unison, a low, rhythmic chant that rises from the chest, not for melody, but to synchronize the breathing of 50 people. One pulse, one group. The instruments are born from necessity. A hollowed bone, perhaps an eagle's wing, becomes a flute. Its high, reedy whistle cuts the night, a signal that carries farther than a voice. These are not songs of joy, but sonic tools. The rhythm binds the hunting party before a dangerous pursuit. The flute's call marks a safe return. Here, around the fire, the most vital sound is the human voice in story. An elder speaks, mimicking the snort of the woolly rhinoceros, the crack of a branch under a giant cave bear's paw. This is not entertainment. This is survival data, encoded in sound and gesture. The children listen, their faces flickering in the flamelight, memorizing the grunt that means danger and the rustle that means water nearby. Every chant, every drumbeat, every recounted hunt reinforces the same message: you are not alone. The dark beyond the fire is vast and full of teeth. But here, in this circle of shared sound, you are part of a single, breathing organism. The knowledge of the tribe becomes a wall of sound against the silence of the wild, a living library of fear and memory that shouts into the night, "We are here. We remember. We endure." Silence was not peace. It was the space between heartbeats stretched to a breaking point. It was the collective held breath of a family, listening. The wind could hide 1,000 dangers. A rustle in the fern, a snap of a branch under a heavy, unfamiliar foot. These were not just sounds. They were sentences of impending doom. The forest spoke a language of threat. Every crackle of the night fire was a beacon. It pushed the darkness back only a few precious arm spans, making the unseen beyond its glow feel all the more absolute. A child's whimper, instinctive and sharp, was met not with a soothing song, but with a firm, desperate hand. A single cry could summon teeth from the shadows. It could guide a rival band to their vulnerable camp. Survival demanded this cruel, instant quiet. So they listened for the low, guttural cough of a cave lion, a predator that could crush a skull with one swipe. For the distant, echoing howl of a pack of dire wolves on the hunt. For the subtle, grating sound of stone on stone that meant another human was near. Friend or foe, you did not know until it was too late. This tense, waiting quiet was the true soundtrack of their nights. More terrifying than any roar was the silence that came just before it. The silence that meant you had been heard first. That final, consequential silence is gone now. We have paved over it. We have drowned it out. We traded a world of pure sonic meaning for a world of constant, meaningless noise. Consider the numbers. A prehistoric hunter could hear a twig snap from over 50 meters away in a quiet forest. Today, the average city dweller tolerates a constant 60 to 85 decibels, a blanket of sound that makes such acute detection impossible. We lost the ability to distinguish a dozen different bird alarms, each signaling a different type of predator. We no longer map the landscape by the echo of a river in a canyon or the specific rustle of grass that signals a grazing aurochs versus a stalking cave lion. Our ancestors lived in a world where every sound carried a direct, physical consequence. The crack of ice meant a thaw or a deadly fall. The distant rumble wasn't traffic, but a rock slide or a herd of mammoths. Listening was not a passive act. It was an active, continuous scan for survival data. A misheard sound meant death. A correctly interpreted whisper meant life. We gained civilization, agriculture, and cities. We gained the hum of machinery, the babble of crowds, and the endless digital chatter. But we lost the deep, primal literacy of our environment. We exchanged a soundscape of immediate, physical truth for one of abstraction and distraction. That hypervigilant listener, the one who could parse the wind itself for danger, is still buried deep in our DNA. But we have built a world that actively silences them. The ultimate consequence of our progress is a profound deafness to the world that made us. We no longer fear the silence before the roar, because we can no longer hear the silence at all.